the worst thing you've done to ex or partner?
I keyed his car.
I hacked all of his social media account and found out that he cheated on me.
Cheating is not okay, but anger is a feeling. Destruction of property and hacking, those are actions and they're not necessarily tied. You can be really, really angry and not break the law. Hi, I'm Dr. Han Ren, a licensed psychologist and mental health content creator. And today I'm gonna be reacting to The Cut's What Are Your Red Flags? Let's dive in.
What are your red flags?
Prejudice. You can't be racist, you can say you can't be homophobic, none of that stuff is.
Okay, so someone has all those things, but they're really attractive and they want to sleep with you, but do you still sleep with them?
That's different.
Okay, first off, let's establish what is a red flag. Red flag is something that gives you pause when you're meeting somebody new and trying to decide if you want to have a relationship with them. It might not be quite as intense as a deal breaker, which is just straight up no, not happening. Red flag is data. When you start meeting somebody and dating someone new, you want to have every interaction with them be a collection of data points. So in addition to red flags, there's a bunch of colors of flags that people can have. There are green flags, which are like, yes, I love this. This is a push on the gas and a really great sign for this pairing or relationship. There's yellow flags or orange flags, like, let's pause, let's see, maybe this is gonna be for me, but maybe not. We don't have enough information yet. And then beige flags is just something that's fun that's shown up on social media more recently. Little lifestyle habits or quirks that people have, like my partner likes to sleep with a pillow over his eyes. He likes that pressure on his face. It doesn't affect whether I wanna be in a relationship with him or not, but it's just kind of an interesting quirk about a person.
What are your red flags with dating?
Oh my God, my red flags in dating? Eek. Oof.
Ooh, there's just so many.
Red flags. Let's go.
Shirtless pics on dating apps.
Fish pic.
If they don't have a headboard.
I was seeing this guy and he didn't have a bed frame and he slept on a blow-up mattress.
How long did you two date?
Over a year.
They got those long acrylics. When they're out here, that's just a little too much. How can you even type with that?
If you are like a gaslighter.
Gaslight.
Okay, so gaslighting actually has been thrown around a lot. There's actually a lot of therapy speak that's been weaponized and thrown around as people are trying to use the language of therapy to control other people's narratives. When a person shares their experience and say like, well, that's not how I experienced it and yours might be different, that's not the same as gaslighting. But if a person says, your experience is wrong and here's why, and they throw in their lived experience, or they say, it's not that big of a deal, you're taking things too seriously, when they kind of undermine the validity of how you perceive a situation, that's gaslighting, and that's absolutely a problem. Would be a red flag for me.
Dishonesty.
Sneaky.
Dodgy.
Like, where were you? And no answer or funny answer and it's not true.
That sounds like you've experienced that.
A couple times.
What are your red flags? Why shouldn't someone date you?
Why shouldn't someone date me?
Yeah.
I don't have any red flags.
I don't have any. Maybe that's a red flag, that I don't think I have any red flags.
Okay, saying that you don't have any red flags, that would be a red flag for me. It means that you're probably not very self-aware and you're not interested in self-discovery or growth and you don't really know where your areas of need are.
Why shouldn't someone date you?
Because I'm married? You want a character flaw?
I can be a little insecure.
Grumpy.
I'm kind of annoying sometimes.
I feel like I talk a lot and I'm very much like word vomit. I might say too much.
I spend a lot of money. I ride with the motorcycle club.
It's really hard to get to know me.
It's really hard to get to know me. I don't know if that's actually a red flag because you're actually self-aware that it's hard to get to know you. Some people are more guarded because of a trauma history or different things that have happened to them in their lives. And there's really no right timeline to feel comfortable in a relationship to open up. And the right people are going to take their time with you and it's gonna be worth it. So if you're noticing that you're feeling really guarded in a relationship, take that as data. Maybe you are self-sabotaging and you actually do really like this person, but you feel like I'm not good enough or they might not like me. So it's really important to be interrogating your own reasons and expectations and maybe talk through some of this with a therapist.
I don't super love men, so if like you're not into degrading and you're a man, like it's not gonna work out.
I have daddy issues.
Big mama's boy.
Mama's boy, love it, but then there's like a fine, like Freudian line.
So you wouldn't want to date someone that wants to sleep with their mother?
Yeah, it's kind of a red flag for me.
All right, that took it a little bit too far. Yeah, healthy boundaries with parents. That is a really important thing to talk about in relationships. Some people have a hard time leaving the nest, and they have really close relationships with their parents that can interfere with their development of relationships with a new primary attachment person, an adult partner. So, you know, as people grow in their relationships, there should be kind of this natural shift where the priority is on the adult partner rather than the family of origin. And that's a conversation that you and your partner should talk about over time. What are appropriate boundaries? And that's gonna look different for every couple, for every relationship, and for different cultural contexts and backgrounds as well.
What are your red flags? What makes you not want to date someone?
Don't like people that smell. Hygiene.
If they look like they stink.
But what if they don't stink?
But if you look like it, that means your aura is funky.
Someone who sits without a toilet seat cover on a public toilet.
Chewing with your mouth open.
Mouth sounds. If you don't know how to eat without beatboxing, I cannot.
If they're wearing like the eyelashes like that are literally like a visor for their face.
Bad tattoo.
White dudes that wear a lot of like anime stuff.
You can't dress. I can't be stepping and you ain't stepping, you feel me?
If they litter around me.
How does that make you feel?
I probably wouldn't date you.
You know, mouth sounds, eyelashes, littering, these are all so subjective and personal. And sometimes if you are really hung up on these tiny things, it's important to ask yourself, like, am I actually giving people a chance? Am I self-sabotaging? Am I ready for a relationship? And other times, you know, these small markers can be indicative of something bigger. Like if a person who's not Asian really loves anime and only dates Asian people, like that could be a red flag. They could be, you know, have a fetish for Asian people, and I don't want to be reduced to that.
Why shouldn't someone date you?
Oh, why not to date me?
I'm moody.
My humor can be a little mean.
I used to laugh inappropriately.
I definitely overthink things.
I'm not a super physical person. Like I have very small windows of when I actually want someone to be like cuddling with me.
Is that really a red flag? You know, she seems like she has pretty good self-awareness and she's clear about what she wants and she communicates this with her partners, and maybe she's gonna find someone else who isn't really a physical touch person either. I don't know if that would be a red flag.
I'm like very argumentative.
I don't get angry often, but when I do, it can be bit much.
If you cross me the wrong way, if I want to come after you, it'll be with a vengeance.
What's the worst thing you've done to ex or partner?
I keyed his car.
I may have burned my ex's clothes one time.
I hacked all of his social media account and found out that he cheated on me. You just got crushed and you can't undo what you saw, so.
Yeah. That seems like a her problem rather than a relationship problem. Like, cheating's not okay, but hacking into somebody's personal devices, destruction of property, I mean, these are illegal things and not really adequate ways to communicate your anger and disappointment. Of course, it's normal to be really hurt and angry when you discover that someone has wronged you and if the breakup is messy and painful, but I can't say that things like destruction of property or hacking someone's accounts is justified, really, ever. You know, you don't want to get arrested, even if you're hurt. And this isn't going to bode well for your future relationships if you don't know how to manage your anger and communicate it in a more appropriate way. You know, anger is a feeling. Destruction of property and hacking, those are actions and they're not necessarily tied. You can be really, really angry and not break the law.
What are your red flags?
Right now, probably kids.
People get weirded out when you have children. I'm not trying to have you be my daughter's mother. She already has a mother.
I'm just trying to meet you for myself.
Okay, kids. How do kids come into play when you're dating? Obviously, kids are an important part of a person's life, and not everyone is signing up for a life with kids, and that's okay. So I get that, you know, it's maybe hurtful for the person who has kids because they can't help it, and the kids are really important to them in their lives. But if someone else wants a child-free life, like, that's cool too. You're gonna have to, meet someone who is on board with the same type of lifestyle that you want. And kids are one of those kind of less negotiable lifestyle factors in the term of a long-term relationship, in the course of a long-term relationship.
What are your red flags?
Well, they have to be single. I get a lot of proposals from married people.
My red flags are definitely not using my pronouns.
A political view. That's against mine.
Oh yeah, you hate Democrats and liberals, right?
No. No.
Snowflakes,
what?
Right?
Wait, what?
Okay, political views. In today's day and age, that really can be a red flag because different political views are not just about policy. It affects people's rights to access and healthcare and right to exist. And people who have very different political views are not going to agree on so many fundamental values. So maybe politics themselves may not be the problem, but the values that they represent can actually be a huge clash, and it can really affect a person's safety and knowing that their partner has their back.
No, it's okay, I get it.
No, the other way.
Fascism.
Fascist. Republican. We'll put it that way.
You wouldn't date a Republican?
I would not date somebody who parrots the current talking points of that particular movement.
Conservative Republican. Conservative, that's kind of immediate now.
What if they're really good looking? Does that change anything?
No.
They don't want to support my rights to being a human, so they can go fuck themselves, literally.
What are your red flags?
When somebody doesn't treat like their waitstaff.
They treat a waiter bad. If they're clingy.
If a person overly shares right away.
Okay, oversharing, is that a red flag? For some people who are neurodivergent, that is just one of the ways that they connect with others. There's an info dump, people have these special interests. So it's not always going to be a red flag, especially if you are into people who are a little quirky. But sometimes oversharing can be a sign that maybe they don't have really good boundaries. Maybe they're not great with their trust meter and knowing how to discern, what is an appropriate time and place for things, which actually does come with people who are neurodivergent sometimes. So that one's really subjective, I would say.
Someone that doesn't know who they are.
Too femmy. I can't stand too femmy.
People who don't read.
Always on their phone 24/7.
If you cannot text back and you take 5 hours, 10 hours, don't text me.
Drugs. 11 months ago, I quit drinking. So for me, it's struggling sometimes with sobriety has been really, really a struggle, a real struggle. And it makes it a lot easier that my partner doesn't drink.
That's a good one. That one's really important. Similar views around the role of alcohol or substances in a lifestyle, in a relationship is so important because it affects how you can spend time together. Are you going to have to watch your partner drink while you're really struggling to stay on the wagon? That's going to be really hard to navigate in a relationship. But also, if two people have major substance use issues, they can really play on each other, and that can be a downward spiral too. Self-awareness is really key here because who's to say what is that line? That is also very subjective.
I'm a little too chill for some people, They're like, the building's on fire, and I'm like, yeah, we'll buy a new one.
I think I don't know how to take care of myself.
I've been hurt, and it makes me want to commit less.
Person's been hurt and so he wants to commit less. It's okay to casually date if you're at that stage. Maybe you're not looking for anything serious or long-term. It's okay to spend your time exploring different types of relationships, and not every relationship has to have an escalator or an ultimate goal of long-term commitment. You can learn so much about yourself and what you're looking for from relationships that don't last a long time, just as much as you learn about yourself in relationships that do. And it's okay if you're just not ready to date and you want to be single. the single life is great. Take care of yourself, date yourself. There's no clear-cut timeline for this. You have to be aware of where you are and what you want at different points in your life, and you can change your mind at any point.
Somebody who isn't kind to animals?
I'm vegan, so I guess like eating meat.
Would you not date a meat eater?
I'm engaged to a meat eater, but it was a red flag. I just ignored it.
If you're a picky eater, you can f the off. Like, I'm a great cook and I don't have time to be like making like, steak and potatoes every night for, you know, boring people.
Okay. As a person of color, I would agree with this. Like, food is love in my culture. Food is community. I like spicy food. I like weird foods. And it would really bother me if people weren't adventurous in their eating. And I find it to be kind of reflective of, you know, their open-mindedness as a person. But I know people have different food aversions, allergies, you know, dietary restrictions. And, you know, that I wouldn't like completely hold it against someone. It just wouldn't be truly compatible for the type of lifestyle that I'm looking for, because food is so, so important to me.
Why should someone not date you?
Why should someone not date me? Oh, that's a good one. I've actually, fun fact, I've never dated anyone.
I've never dated anyone before.
Never been in a relationship ever. So I think that that can maybe deter people because they're like, she's either crazy or like really bad in bed or something. I don't know.
Okay, never being in a relationship. This is like credit, right? Like, you need credit to get credit. Like, you need history in being in a relationship for people to say like, oh, you know how to be in a relationship. I don't think that's necessarily a red flag though. It's just sometimes you're not ready, or you're scared, or the opportunity hasn't presented itself. There's lots of reasons why people haven't been in relationships before. And I think if you have a growth mindset, you're open to stepping outside of your comfort zone, taking feedback, maybe talking about what it's like to be in relationships with your therapist or your friends, then sometimes people who haven't had that experience can be the best partners because they're eager to learn and they're invested and they're really willing to put in the effort. So I don't think that in and of itself is a red flag.
Crazy or like really bad in bed or something. I don't know, but
Which one is it?
maybe I'm crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. I might be crazy.
Oh, that was a fun one. There's so many red flags and a lot of them contradicted each other. It really goes to show how individual and subjective these red flags are for people. And that means what's one person's red flag may be another person's green flag. You gotta be aware of what you want and don't feel afraid to really own that. You get to determine what type of relationship you're looking for and what are the qualities and the people that you want to spend time with. And none of that's good or bad, it's just personal. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Dr. Han Ren, and for more videos like this from Healthline Mental Health, click the like and subscribe button. See you next time.